Hello there. As you may already know, my group chose Japan for our group project, and I was responsible for finding one of the major challenges that foreign investors could run into. So, one major challenge that foreign investors can run into is regulatory and bureaucratic challenges. I, I know for most people, Japan might seem like a highly developed and business friendly country with all this technology, like in Tokyo, and all these other advances in different aspects of industries. Um, it ranks pretty well when it comes to like safety, rule of law, and transparency. But when it comes to starting a business, it might be a little slower than you think, considering all the heavy layers of regulation within the country and the law. Setting up a company in Japan often involves a lot of paperwork. Uh, Anything from business registration, tax filings, corporate bank accounts, applying for the right permits and licenses. That process can be very time consuming. More than other places like here in the US. It might be a little easier considering we just opened like an LLC and start a company. Um, it also depends a lot what industry you're in, like pharmaceuticals, food, and energy, and things of that nature might have stricter compliance rules, um, and safety protocols and inspections that you need to clear even before beginning any type of operation, kind of like here in the US, um, but a lot more stricter. But upon opening up your business and having it running and up and going, you might run into other problems too when it comes to like ongoing compliance and your day-to-day operations. You have to be really on top of your taxes, proper like laws, labor laws, labeling, things of that nature, import and export documentation. Any non-compliance can lead to penalties, shutdown, or even just your business gaining a bad reputation, which can ultimately lead to closing down. Um, One word of advice I would give if you're planning on opening up a business in Japan is maybe find a local expert or like a consultant that already knows the business system within Japan. Uh, they should be able to help you, especially when it comes to language barriers and navigating through like the requirements and approvals of what it takes to actually start a business and keep one open. So it'll save you a lot of headaches, especially if you're not from there. So, yeah.
I'm going to give you a quick rundown of Japan's economic landscape and its position in the global market. I'll touch base on some factors like its economic standing, foreign investment trends, and recent developments. First off, Japan is the fourth largest economy in the world, an indication to its resilient infrastructure and global influence. The nation is a key player in international trade, with the United States being one of its most significant trading partners. Japan is actually the fifth largest trading partner of the U.S., underlining its strength and depth of this relationship. Even with global economic challenges, Japan has maintained an inflation rate of about 2.5%, according to Morgan Stanley, demonstrating stable price levels and a controlled financial environment. FDI, or foreign direct investment, is important for Japan's economy. It helps create jobs, sparks innovation, and makes Japanese industry more competitive worldwide. Japan's stock market has been growing steadily in recent years and has drawn a lot of foreign investment. In 2023, foreign investment in Japanese stock reached its highest level in 10 years, thanks to a weaker yen and the rise in companies buying back shares. This growth is part of a widespread recovery since the pandemic, showing how Japan has adapted to global changes and used foreign investments to boost its economy. Turning the regulatory framework for foreign investment in Japan, the country's legal structure is divided into three main categories: investment trusts, investment companies, and limited partnerships. Each category offers different benefits and opportunities for foreign investors looking to break into the Japanese market. This provides flexibility and security for all kinds of investments. Japan's economic standing remains both strong and active. As the world's fourth largest economy, Japan benefits from solid economic relationships with key global partners, particularly the United States, and maintains a solid framework for attracting foreign investment. These aspects collectively reinforce Japan's position as a serious player in the global economy. As the nation recovers and grows in the post-COVID era, its capital markets are the head of his expansion, presenting new opportunities for international investors to engage with a market that continues to evolve and strengthen.
Hello, I'm Julian, and I will be talking about Japan's international trade. And the reason why I will be talking about international trade is because this is one of the reasons why they are very successful to this day. Japan has the third biggest trading economy in the world as of right now, behind the United States and China. And Japan is a crucial role in the international trading business, especially with the US. And the reason why we are so important to the US is because we are the number one trade partner with them. In 2022, our goods and services was worth 309 billion, like back and forth combined with the US. Um, uh, our exports were about 80 billion, while services exports were approximately 38 billion, so a total of 120 billion, which is up 7% from 2021 of just straight exports. But our main thing that we do get from America is our imports. Our imports from goods, or imports of goods from Japan, were over 145 billion, and services were about 40 billion, so a total of 190 billion, which is up 13.5 from the prior year. So, US being a big trade partner for us is a great help, but we also provide a lot of other stuff like that to other companies, or other companies, sorry, other countries. So, we are a big crucial role for a lot of bigger countries like China, the United States, but also help a lot of the tiny ones. Our imports, we mainly focus on natural resources like gas. We are the world's net largest buyer of food, and that makes us, I think, top four in imports. And then for exports, we are top four also, and we export many different resources and things such as cars like Mitsubishi's to America, and like electronics like Samsung, and just other things of that nature that provide a lot of benefits to other companies, and that's why we are very high in the international trading business, because we have a lot of needs that people like.
The first demographic factor we're going to talk about is Japan aging population. Japan is in fact considered to be one of the oldest countries in the world, and as also stated by a report published in 2023 by Statista, Japan has around 30% of the population who is 65 years or older. This of course creates some complication and some issues in domestic and foreign trade, and we're going to dive deeper into some of those. So the first one can be seen in the shrinking workforce in the country. In fact, as also forecasted by OECD in an article published in 2021, Japan is forecasted to have a reduction in its workforce of around 20% by the end of 2040, and this is bringing Japan into increasing their labor costs for for its younger population. But this is not enough, since the retired people are still more than the new workforce in the country itself, which is also a reason why Japan is seeking more foreign labor and automation for their firms. The second impact that the aging population has in the country is the changing consumer demand. In fact, as also stated by NIPSSR in 2022, all the companies that invest inside the country have to change their strategies in order to satisfy the needs of the population. In fact, since 1/3 of the population is that old, the needs will be different. They will be needing healthcare, they will be needing financial planning, they will be needing more elderly friendly products and technology, which will of course bring a shift in strategy from all the foreign companies that has investment in the country. And last impact and consequence that these have in Japan and in foreign business is the slower domestic consumption. Japan is in fact seeing diminishing consumption growth in its country compared to younger economies and compared to other foreign economies. And this creates kind of a stagnant economy in the country, which brings the country itself to be way more open into overseas trades, mainly with Asia, China, and the United States. So to conclude, the aging population in Japan does not have to be seen just as a domestic problem for the country, but also has to be seen as a worldwide and global problem, since these will create big changes in foreign businesses and in economy for other countries that are having trades in Japan itself, and will also create a more open economy in Japan in order to fight this aging population and have their businesses and trades made overseas in different countries.
I'm going to be talking about earthquakes and what role they play in Japan's economy. So because of their position along the Pacific Ring of Fire, it makes them especially vulnerable to powerful and more frequent earthquakes. These environmental factors have had lasting impacts on Japan's economy, infrastructure, and society. And one of the more powerful disasters in recent history was the 2011 Tohoku tsunami and earthquake. This led to an immediate collapse in industrial production and exports, severely damaging Japan's economic output. Not only that, physical and human capital losses were immense, with estimated total damage ranging from $195 billion to $305 billion. This made it history's most costliest disaster as well. And one of the more serious consequences of this earthquake was the Fukushima nuclear accident. The earthquake triggered a failure in the electrical grid and knocked out almost all of the power plant's backup systems. This led to a meltdown and widespread radiation concern, which not only endangered public health, but also triggered long-term changes in Japan's energy policy and public trust in nuclear power. In the decade that followed, over 2,000 businesses filed for bankruptcy due to economic strain caused directly or indirectly by these disasters. Recovery efforts have been ongoing for years, requiring massive public and private investment. But more recently, in 2024, they experienced the Noto earthquake, which caused additional setbacks, especially in Japan's tourism sector. With millions lost in tourism revenue and an estimated GDP loss between 23 to 50 billion yen, the quake disrupted recovery from the pandemic and further put strain on the already fragile economy. The total cost of the disaster is expected to fall between 1.1 and 2.6 trillion yen, adding to Japan's long list of financial burdens related to natural disasters. So because of its seismic activity, Japan had to prioritize earthquake-resistant infrastructure, buildings, bridges, and roads that are all designed with flexibility and shock absorption in mind. This just adds to their economic strain for future endeavors.